Hi everyone, a lot of people have been talking about comfort eating and that they're snacking or eating a bit more than they usually would at the minute. So I just share a bit of information about maybe why we do it and some solutions to help you overcome that. Okay, so one thing we need to understand about fat loss and weight gain and all these things is it's all about energy balance. So if calories in are greater than the calories you burn in a day, walking up the stairs, breathing, exercising, then you're going to gain fat. Your body is going to store that excess energy in your body as fat, hence why we put on weight, we put on fat. If your energy in equals the same amount of energy that you're using, then you stay exactly as you are in that moment. And then finally, if you eat fewer calories than you use in a day, you're in a calorie deficit, which then means that your body will use that stored energy to fuel exercise, movement, breathing. So if we are wanting to lose fat, we have to make sure our calories in are less than what we're using. Now, the body regulates usually over a couple of weeks. So if we do have an indulgent day, a bit like spending, if you spent a lot of money on one day, if you just control your spending and your eating therefore in the next few days, you should hopefully be able to balance that out. So as long as over a week, a 2-week period, you're in that calorie deficit, not every day you're in that deficit, because that's also not good, then we're all good team. So that's simple maths. But we are not simple creatures. Food is not just food to us. Food is not just fuel. It is more than that. We have a connection to food. It can bring families together. We can enjoy food with people. We eat food with friends, It brings comfort. As a baby, you were given a bottle. It is connected with nurturing, safety, and comfort. So hence why our relationship is more complex than I need to eat this many calories to get this outcome. We can also in childhood learn behaviors when we develop, and some of these can be restrictive patterns which then become eating disorders maybe later on. And if you are having those sorts of patterns, then a GP or there are resources out there, I'll put in the comments or somewhere, there are resources to help you get proper professional help for those sorts of things. But we're just talking for everyday Joe, who's going to the kitchen more than she usually would because she is bored. Sorry, Joe, if someone called Joe is watching. So we might be eating out of a number of reasons. One might simply be boredom. Another might be emotional eating. We might be responding to celebrations. It might be a celebration. It could be stress, anxiety, frustration. We could be suppressing our emotions rather than dealing with something. We could be eating our feelings, as people joke about. It could be a social influence. So we've all got those friends who, when we've had enough to drink and we know we should stop, they're the friend who encourages us to drink more. The same can happen around food. You can be like, oh, I'm eating well this week. And they're like, go on, another bit of cake, another bit of cake. Turned into Marjorie Dawes there, didn't I? And parents are usually the worst for that because it just comes from a place of love, nurturing again. So maybe you just need to have a conversation if it's not helping you. And then finally, like I said before, childhood can be a major factor in this. So just a bit why we maybe comfort eat, maybe when we're stressed or something we eat. So our body gets a hit of serotonin, which is a hormone that's released into the body that makes us feel good. So when we are having that thing we love, and it can be an activity as well as a food, when we do something we love, we get a hit of serotonin that makes us feel good. When we're stressed, it can reduce our levels of cortisol, okay? So what can we do to potentially look at changing this? Well, great bit of advice, figure the trigger. So each time you're doing these behaviors, each time you go into the kitchen outside of meals and are like, what's in the cupboard, what's in the fridge, what can I eat now? Ask one of 3 questions. Ask, I am, or at, or because. So I'll give you examples. I'm bored, so I'm eating. I'm upset, so I'm eating. I'm lonely, so I'm eating. Or maybe at the end of the day, me and my other half sit down, we get the cheese board out, we sit down, we watch TV. It's what we do. Or maybe it's because my boss has been an absolute beep today, I'm stressed, I'm cross, so I'm going to have this glass of wine and this bag of nuts. So we're looking at why, what's driving us to these patterns. Even if in the beginning we can't do anything to change the behavior, we're at least starting to understand why we are doing that. So rather than logging your calories and macronutrients in MyFitnessPal, Fitbit have a thing that you can do that with, or taking pictures and writing down the backs of your packages and stuff, let's just maybe instead log the pattern. So each time you're having a snack, a meal, write down what the answer to one of those questions, I am, or at, or because. And then you may, after a week, be able to see, oh, there's a pattern. But make sure whatever you do, it is non-judgmental. So you're not judging yourself for these behaviors. You're being kind, you're being empathic, and you're just trying to understand, okay, from an objective point of view. Don't be like, oh, you're just so greedy. Oh, you can't cope with this, X, Y, Z. Take that judgment out of it. Let's bring it back to the facts. You're doing this because of this. Then maybe in time you can look at ways to cope better with maybe emotions or environmental factors. So it might be if you're lonely that rather than go to the kitchen, you call up a friend, you go, are you free for a catch up? You make a cup of tea, you sit down, you have a chat. Hopefully you'll have forgotten that you even wanted food because you'll solve that issue. Now, it's not that easy always. Maybe you're having a few more arguments at home because you're all in a pressurized situation 24/7 together. Or maybe you just need to have some time out from each other. If your house is big enough, you can go into separate rooms. Maybe you go into the garden and you do some exercise, let off some steam, some stress, something just for you rather than eating. Because when we get into that cycle of eating, feeling bad for eating, it's not going to be a good place. It's not going to feel nice. So, one final thing I'm going to talk about is mindless versus mindful eating. So, mindless eating is what I do at the cinema. I buy my popcorn and my Tango Ice Blast. Blueberry. No, it's blue raspberry, isn't it? Oh, look, the trailers are going. Oh, the film's starting. I've got no popcorn left. What? Have you been stealing my popcorn? No, I've just been mindless eating. Okay, so we're at home, we're watching TV a lot more. Maybe we're playing games with family and we have a lovely array of snacks. Before we know it, they're all gone. We haven't thought about what we've eaten. We've eaten probably far more calories than we've needed to. And we probably genuinely didn't need to because we were enjoying the game, the TV show. So that is mindless eating. Or another great example that I can sometimes be guilty of. I'm cooking dinner, I'm cutting stuff up. Oh, I'm grating cheese. That's a bit of cheese. I'm going to eat that bit of cheese. That didn't grate properly. You know what I'm on about, people. Again, mindlessly eating. I'm going to have my dinner in a minute. Just leave the cheese. You're finding all my triggers now. So that is mindless. So what is mindful eating? So it is sitting down and eating the food without any distraction. We're not on our phones. We're not watching the TV. We're not playing board games, We are literally focusing on the experience, the food, the enjoyment. Yes, have it as a family. Talk to each other. Tell everyone to leave their phones and iPads in different rooms. I'm on my own, so I have to make potato friends. Meet Dorothy. I haven't got a potato friend, really. So that is mindful eating. And then you'll be aware of the signals from your stomach when you are full. When you're not thinking about it, you can easily overeat because you're not listening to the signals from your body saying, stop eating, I'm full. And don't be afraid to leave food. Don't waste it, package it up, store it safely, but don't force yourself to eat something just because it's on the plate. That's a really bad habit that society has brought on, especially as kids. You have to eat all your dinner. Well, no, you might not want to eat all your dinner. So here are some takeaway top tips that I think you can put into action today. 1, don't buy any more treats. I know it's Easter weekend. Enjoy those treats, portion them off, maybe plan when you're going to eat them, bake them into something. You know, you can melt things down and they can go a bit further. Also, if you've got them, put them out of sight. Don't leave them on the worktop counter next to the TV, because every time you go into the kitchen or you're watching TV, you will see the treat. You'll then want the treat because you're constantly seeing it. So put it out of sight, out of mind, hard to get to. But back to the point, if you haven't got it in the house, you can't eat it. So maybe have a chat with the family, because I know kids sometimes really want a treat. Either consider limiting it or portioning it. So that's one idea. Secondly, plan and portion. So if you are planning to watch a film that evening, you want to have a snack, a bit of ice cream maybe, put it in a bowl. Don't take the tub in. Don't take in the whole bag of popcorn, because before you know it, it'll be gone. Allow yourself a portion. As soon as we forbid something from ourselves, we want it more. The forbidden is even more tempting than the actual thing in the first place. So plan it into your week. If you know you're going to want a bit of chocolate in the week, try and plan when you're going to have it, so you've got that control. It's not going to be, I'm stressed, I'm having chocolate. It's going to be like, oh no, I'm having chocolate at this time, I can wait. Self-discipline. Plan your meals. Now more than ever, we don't want to be going to the supermarket more than we need to. We've probably all got a freezer full of food that we can keep going on. I definitely have. So plan your meals for the week, you know, in date order, so we're not having food going off, we're not wasting anything. That's going to help too. Plan full meals, okay? Not just a bowl of cereal here and there, a slice of toast. That's not a meal. It's not going to fill you up. You're going to be hungry again soon. Try and make sure we're having those proteins and fats with every meal. So even at breakfast, we're having proteins and fats. Not too much fat. It's again calorie dense, but proteins and fats are going to help to stabilize your blood sugar, not cause a sudden rush that may happen if you're having some carbohydrates, and they will give you a sense of satiety, feeling full. That's what satiety is. It makes you feel full for longer. Another top tip, close the kitchen. After your evening meal, shut the door. When you're not eating or cooking, shut the kitchen door. It's a physical barrier. You can't go in. You've then got to make the conscious decision to go in. And maybe that 2 seconds opening the door might just help you to think, I am at, and consider why you're doing something. Maybe take 5 minutes. If you want a snack, spend 5 minutes doing something else or thinking about the triggers and why and trying to understand again. And finally, don't put too much pressure on yourself, because it takes 28 days at least to develop a new habit or maybe break an old one. And you're going to slip up. That doesn't mean write off the whole week, the rest of the day. It just means you've done something, okay, maybe understand why, but now you start again. Start taking back control. We all can take back control. We all have the power to change. We just need to believe we can do it and that we are worth doing it. And that is a whole different MattTalk. So I hope this has helped maybe you to reduce some snacking, looking at maybe why you're eating more than you usually would. And yeah, have a fab weekend, week. Take care. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and just do the best you can. Sometimes good enough is enough. So just try your best, team. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, as always, do send me a message. I'm more than happy to help you in any way I can. Bye!